Everybody good?
Yeah.
Well, my name is Heart Soul Gray. I'm just so honored and privileged to be here. Thanks to all the candidates who are also here. We got some treasures in the room. So I know our goal is to flip this seat and make sure that we send Mark Alford back to TV or whatever he wants to do, as long as it has nothing to do with us, right?
Yeah.
So I am running on a platform that believes that we deserve to be free and fed. I believe that there is no boundary line that says you don't deserve it all. I don't think there's a single boundary line that says you don't deserve universal health care. No boundary line that says you don't deserve universal social housing that is yours. There is no boundary that says you don't deserve to have a guaranteed union protected job, pays at least $25 an hour. And you are not free or fed if you know that you have your tax dollars going to blow up young children overseas instead of making our lives better right here. And what makes it even more tragic and disgusting is that all these things we do not have is because somebody else is making a profit off of our pain. We don't have universal health care because the insurance companies can make money off of nearly 70,000 of us dying every single year from a preventable illness. From a preventable illness that, if not for the lack of health care, our neighbors would still be here with us. So we're going to make sure that we break all that up, and we're going to make sure we guarantee universal health care. We don't have social housing because we have developers and private equity that are buying up our land. We have data centers that are getting profited by supposed electeds on our side as they are shutting down neighborhoods, as they are shuttering family farms. This ain't right. I'm running because this ain't right. We're bringing a movement that says that this ain't right, and we're going to bring our crisis to its creator. We're going to take on corporations so we can guarantee that job, so we can make sure it is union protected, because when we get into the House, we're going to make sure that we pass the PRO Act. We're going to also make sure that we pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, so that we don't have to be fighting these gerrymandering wars. For some reason, I guess some folks thought that we had become Jim woke. No, Jim Crow never left. But also what never left is the courage of the folks in this room, the courage of the people in our district. And again, all the things I'm talking about, I call it a freedom budget. It's in the spirit and in the vein of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., labor leader A. Philip Randolph, and labor leader Bayard Rustin, who were going to end poverty in 10 years, 1968 to 78. Dr. King was assassinated, and then we had Nixon. So we didn't get a chance to do those things. But we can fulfill on those promises, just like we're going to fulfill on the promises of Reconstruction. We're going to fulfill on the promises of our abolitionists. We're going to fulfill on the promises of labor leaders, of the feminist movement. I am so sorry that I have to say this, but you're not out of the fight. But also, your victories are ours, our victories are yours. And it's with that movement that we can take on these corporations. We can say to the war machine, I don't want my tax dollars to fund a genocide, especially not on behalf of a foreign country and a war criminal. With our movement, when you have that moral clarity that cannot be bought, cannot be sold, we take the power of the people to Congress, not profits or PACs. The first week that we announced this race, hadn't even gone public yet. We just filed some paperwork. Got an Instagram message from someone that says, I am with one of the biggest lobbying firms in the country, would love to talk to you more about your race. I said, this is weird, but here's the email. And this woman sent us an email, and mask is off. This is how much they're trying to buy our democracy. It was insert her name at apac.org. So they're trying to buy out another working class, in this case, working class blackface, to stump for a war that is raising our gas prices. I just filled up this morning for $4.30. As we've got eggs that are now what, $2.20, bread that's $3.14. We've got milk that's over $4. The time is now, and we need nothing less than moral clarity and a bold progressive vision that's going to expand this tent. The tent means nothing if I'm in it and I got nothing to say. I grew a beard, cool. No, that's not gonna grow the tent. A progressive, bold vision, a transformational vision is how we beat this back. And so when we take this seat back, not just this gerrymandering fight, but also when we flip it from Mark Alford, what a story to tell that we sent a 34-year-old black man in Congress as they tried to silence the black voices of Kansas City.
You're up next.
Ma'am. Good evening, and thank you guys for being here tonight. My name is Jordan Herrera. I'm going to turn on the Master Sergeant voice so everybody can hear me. First, thank you Grain Valley Democrats for hosting us. I greatly appreciate this. Thank you to all the candidates who made the steps in the journey here. Wayne, thank you for driving in all the way from Columbia. I appreciate you, sir. Ashley, myself, and a few others had to brave the traffic, and everyone else did here too, so thank you. It's not lost on me. So a little bit about who I am. I served in the United States Air Force from 2006 until 2022. I came into the Air Force because I grew up poor. I didn't really have access to education, but I did have access to a lot of older leaders telling me, if you want a free education, join the military. And it wasn't until later in my military career I came to the realization that if you want to teach a third grader 3 + 3, do you think you should have to stand on a battlefield to do that and possibly die? No. We have better ways to achieve that. You heard Donald Trump just a few weeks ago say that we don't have money for universal child care, Medicaid, Medicare. But he returned $450 billion at a minimum to the top 5%, 1% in corporations. Now, I'm a researcher. While I was in the Air Force, I was a biomedical engineer. I served in Iraq back in 2009. I was in Turkey between 2010 and 2011, Afghanistan 2012. My point in telling you that is I spent a lot of time serving this country abroad, out in the desert. I know what it takes to have grit. And that's what this race is going to call for this time. We saw what's happened in Tennessee, all across the South. St. Louis is now not immune. If you think that the 7-1 is going to happen and not go any worse, you're wrong. Republicans are absolutely going to change this state to an 8-1. We've seen this happen before. All across our American history. If you look back in 1964, there was an action that civil rights leaders back then championed called Freedom Summer. The goal being register as many voters as possible that year. What happened that year is they got their legislators elected. The following year in 1965 was the Civil Rights Act. That's how it got passed. If we really want to defeat what they are doing, and we have to call it for what it is, it's a constitutional coup. I've seen these across many states and regions. We're in one right now, friends. It's going to take a serious planner, a strategist. Now, I myself have a degree in political science. I also sought out a degree in battle and strategy, studying U.S. military history. I then took my skills to law school, and I'm a practicing constitutional lawyer, a former assistant attorney general. That's right. An openly gay candidate was an assistant attorney general in Missouri, which means Andrew Bailey hired me. One of my first cases, what I was able to do was positively affect trans and HIV policy in every single one of our Missouri prisons. Silently and quietly, I did that work. My name was never in a paper, but the case is still there. That's what happens when Democrats know the law, are able to effectuate it positively, and aren't afraid of who their boss is because they understand that we work for you in this room.
Thank you.
Now, if we really want to win this election this year, we have to get out the vote in massive numbers. I am proud that Democrats across the state stood up, and in over 97% of the races are filled by Democrats. We haven't seen that in decades. That's because of you guys. Not just up here in this front row as candidates. It's because you guys care. You guys are mobilized. You guys are doing the action. You guys are leading the movement. And that's the important point. It's not about any one individual person. It's about all of you. It's about the movement that we start and how we move forward to attack these issues. Now, my plan is built on 4 simple things: housing, healthcare, education, food security. If you look at my literature, it explains it all, but we're here to answer questions on how I plan to achieve that with smart strategy, results-driven strategy and plans, and I'm excited to showcase that to you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.